God's justice is not immediate, but it is certain. When you have been wronged, mistreated, or betrayed, it is natural to want to see justice unfold right away. You want to see the person who hurt you held accountable. You want the lies to be exposed, the manipulation to be revealed, and the pain they inflicted on you to return to them. But God does not operate on human timelines. His justice is not dictated by emotions, impatience, or the desire for immediate retribution. His justice is precise, perfect, and always comes at the right time. When you look at life through human eyes, it can sometimes seem as though the wicked prosper while the righteous suffer. It can feel as though those who deceive, manipulate, and take advantage of others continue to thrive without consequence. You may find yourself asking, where is God in all of this? Why hasn't he stepped in yet? But just because you do not see immediate action does not mean that justice is not in motion. God is always working even when you cannot see it. Think of a seed planted deep in the soil. For weeks, even months, it appears as though nothing is happening. There is no visible evidence of growth. But beneath the surface, in a place unseen, the seed is breaking open, roots are spreading, and new life is forming. Then, at the appointed time, the sprout emerges, and what was once hidden becomes visible to all. This is how God's justice works. It is being cultivated in the unseen realm long before it manifests in the natural world. God's justice is not based on human revenge. It is based on divine order. While we may seek immediate payback, God seeks restoration, alignment, and the fulfillment of his greater plan. He does not merely punish wrongdoing. He corrects, exposes, and ensures that his will prevails. He allows things to unfold in ways that bring about true resolution, not just temporary satisfaction. The pain you have endured has not gone unnoticed. Every tear you have cried, every moment of suffering you have experienced, and every injustice done against you has been seen by the one who holds all power. The people who have wronged you may believe they have escaped accountability, but God is never blind to wrongdoing. He is not unaware of the lies that were spoken about you, the betrayal that broke your heart, or the manipulation that left you feeling powerless. He sees everything, and he will act according to his divine wisdom. Sometimes God's justice is delayed because he is giving the person who wronged you an opportunity to repent. He does not take pleasure in destruction, even of the wicked. His heart desires transformation, even for those who have caused harm. This is why you may see people continue to walk freely despite their misdeeds. God, in his mercy, is giving them a chance to turn from their ways. But if they refuse, if they persist in their wrongdoing, if they continue to exploit, deceive, and harm others, his justice will come, and when it does, it will be undeniable. God's justice is also about your preparation. There are times when he does not allow you to witness immediate consequences because he is strengthening you in the process. He is refining your character, deepening your faith, and teaching you to rely on him rather than on revenge. When you are focused on seeing someone else's downfall, you are still tethered to them. Your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions remain trapped in the pain they caused. But when you release them to God, when you trust that he is handling it, you free yourself to move forward. Justice delayed is not justice denied. God is not ignoring you. He is not indifferent to your pain. He is working in ways that you cannot yet perceive. There are times when he allows the person who wronged you to rise higher, to accumulate more, to seem untouchable, because the greater their elevation, the harder their fall will be. Pride always comes before destruction, and those who build their success on deceit will always see it crumble in due time. God's justice is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is as simple as removing his favor from their life. They may continue to pretend that they are thriving, but inside they will feel the emptiness of losing what they once had. They will begin to struggle in ways they never expected. The relationships they manipulated will turn sour. The opportunities they once took for granted will disappear. The peace they pretended to have will vanish. And while you may never see it happen, know that it is happening. One of the greatest forms of divine justice is when God elevates you while your enemies remain stagnant. The best revenge is not their suffering, it is your success. When you continue to grow, when you heal, when you walk into the blessings that were meant for you, you make it clear that their actions did not break you. You show that no matter what was done against you, God's purpose for your life remains intact. But you must also understand that God's justice is not always about what happens to them. It is about what happens in you. The true measure of justice is not in seeing their downfall, but in experiencing your own rise. God's justice is not just about consequences, it is about redemption. It is about turning pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, and betrayal into breakthrough. Trusting God's justice requires patience, it requires surrender, it requires a deep faith that even when things appear unfair, even when it seems like the wicked are winning, God is still in control. He does not forget his children. He does not overlook those who put their trust in him. His timing is perfect, and his ways are higher than ours. The story is not over. The people who hurt you may think they have won, but they have only set the stage for God to move. He will restore what was lost. He will redeem what was broken. He will ensure that righteousness prevails, not because of human effort, but because of his divine will. So do not waste your energy seeking revenge. Do not allow bitterness to take root in your heart. Do not let the actions of others steal your joy, your peace, or your future. Instead, release them. Let go of the need to control the outcome. Let God handle it, because his justice is not immediate, but it is certain, and when it comes, it will be undeniable. The narcissist's own actions will become their downfall. The very traits that once allowed them to manipulate, control, and deceive will eventually turn against them. They believe they are invincible, that their charm, lies, and calculated tactics will always work. But the truth is, no one escapes the consequences of their actions forever. The seeds of destruction are planted in the very behavior they use to exploit others. A narcissist operates under the illusion that they can continue hurting people without ever facing repercussions. They move through life with a sense of entitlement, believing that they can manipulate, lie, and betray without consequence. They see kindness as weakness and take advantage of those who give them love, trust, and loyalty. But what they fail to realize is that their behavior creates a cycle that will ultimately consume them. The energy they put out into the world will always return to them in ways they least expect. At first, it may seem like the narcissist is winning. They appear to get away with their manipulation. They charm new victims, deceive those around them, and move forward without guilt or remorse. They thrive on the pain they inflict, feeling a sense of power over those they have controlled. But this power is an illusion. It is built on lies, deception, and instability. It cannot last. The downfall of a narcissist is inevitable because their entire way of living is unsustainable. They burn bridges, destroy relationships, and alienate those who once cared for them. Over time, their reputation catches up to them. The people they have deceived begin to see the truth. The lies that once worked so effortlessly begin to fall apart. They find themselves unexposed, unable to maintain the false image they have carefully constructed. A narcissist thrives in deception, but truth always prevails. There is only so long that they can manipulate reality before their own actions begin to reveal their true nature. The more they try to control others, the more their own life spirals out of control. They believe they are playing a game, but in the end they become trapped in the very web they wove. One of the greatest consequences a narcissist faces is isolation. Their tactics may have worked for a time, but eventually people begin to see through the facade. Friends, family, and even their closest allies start distancing themselves. The narcissist finds themselves alone, unable to maintain the relationships they once used for their own benefit. No matter how much they try to blame others, the common denominator in all their failed relationships is them. What makes their downfall even more certain is their inability to change. A narcissist does not self-reflect. They do not take accountability. Instead of learning from their mistakes, they repeat the same toxic patterns. They move from one relationship to another, from one job to the next, from one situation to another, never realizing that the reason for their downfall is their own behavior. They sabotage themselves without even realizing it. Their need for control turns into paranoia. Their lies become so tangled that they can no longer keep track of them. The very people they sought to manipulate turn against them. They become the architect of their own suffering, yet they refuse to accept responsibility for the destruction they have caused. There comes a point where the narcissist tactics stop working. The charm they once used to manipulate no longer has the same effect. People become wise to their games. Their reputation follows them wherever they go. No matter how much they try to reinvent themselves, the truth catches up with them. What they once used as a tool of control, be it deception, manipulation, or false charm, becomes their downfall. They are left with nothing but the consequences of their own actions. They lose the people who once stood by them. They lose the trust they once took for granted. They lose the opportunities they thought would always be available to them. The narcissist's downfall is not always dramatic. It is not always a single event that exposes them. Sometimes it is a slow, steady decline. They wake up one day and realize they have no one left. They find that the people they thought they could always manipulate have moved on. They experience failure after failure, wondering why nothing seems to be going their way. But the answer is simple. Everything they are experiencing is a result of the harm they have inflicted. Even when the narcissist appears to move on, to find new victims, to start fresh somewhere else, they cannot escape themselves. Their patterns will repeat. Their new relationships will eventually fall apart. Their new schemes will eventually fail. And each time, the consequences become greater. Each time, the walls close in a little more. There is a reason why narcissists often end up alone, bitter and resentful. It is because they refuse to take responsibility for their own destruction. They blame others for their circumstances. They accuse people of betraying them, when in reality, they were the ones who betrayed everyone around them. They paint themselves as the victims, but deep down, they know the truth. They are the reason for their own downfall. In the end, a narcissist destroys themselves. Their own actions become the weapon that brings them down. They may think they are invincible, that they can continue to deceive and manipulate without consequence, but life does not work that way. You cannot plant seeds of deceit and expect to reap a harvest of peace. You cannot build a life on lies and expect it to stand strong. The downfall of a narcissist is not always immediate, but it is inevitable. And when it happens, they will have no one to blame but themselves. God's revenge is about your healing, not your hatred. It is never about proving a point, getting even, or seeing someone else suffer. It is about restoring what was taken from you, rebuilding what was broken, and making sure that you come out stronger, wiser, and closer to your divine purpose. When you have been hurt, betrayed, or wronged by someone, especially by someone who acted with malice, deceit, or cruelty, it is natural to feel anger. It is human to want justice, to crave retribution, to wish that they would experience the same pain they caused you. But God's justice operates on a higher level. It is not fueled by vengeance. It is fueled by righteousness. Many people misunderstand the way God deals with those who have wronged us. They think that divine justice means immediate punishment, that God will strike down those who hurt us in a way that satisfies our pain. But God's revenge is never about destruction for the sake of destruction. It is about restoration. It is about ensuring that the wounds inflicted upon you do not remain open, that the damage done to your soul is not permanent. His justice is about lifting you up, not bringing them down. It is about pulling you out of the darkness that pain created, about healing your spirit so that you no longer carry the weight of what was done to you. When someone harms you, they may think they have won. They may believe they have broken you, that they have taken something from you that can never be restored. They may move on with their lives, never looking back, while you are left with the aftermath, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the struggle to make sense of it all. But God sees everything. He sees the tears you cried in secret. He hears the prayers that you whispered in the middle of the night, asking for strength, for understanding, for relief. He knows the weight you have been carrying, and he has no intention of letting you suffer forever. God's justice is not always immediate, but it is always certain. He is not in a rush to destroy those who hurt you. He is in the business of making sure that you are healed first. Because what good would it be if the one who harmed you faced consequences, yet you remained wounded, bitter, and trapped in the past? True justice is not just about what happens to them, it is about what happens to you. It is about ensuring that you are no longer bound by the pain they caused, that their actions no longer have control over your life. That is why God's way of balancing the scales often looks different from what we expect. He may not strike them down in the way you imagined, but he will make sure that their actions do not go unnoticed. He will make sure that the consequences of their choices eventually reach them, but more importantly, he will make sure that you are restored, that you are healed, that you are lifted to a place where their presence, their words, and their betrayal no longer have power over you. One of the most powerful ways God takes revenge is by blessing you in ways that they never expected. Those who tried to break you will have to watch as you rise. The people who doubted you, who mistreated you, who counted you out, will have to witness your transformation. They may have tried to steal your peace, but God will multiply it. They may have tried to destroy your confidence, but God will strengthen it. They may have left you thinking you would never recover, but God will show them, and more importantly, he will show you, that their actions could never stop his plan for your life. This is why your focus should never be on retaliation. The more you fixate on their downfall, the more you keep yourself tied to the pain they caused. If you spend your energy hoping they will suffer, you are still letting them control a part of you. But when you release them into God's hands, when you trust that he will handle things in his way, you free yourself, you allow yourself to heal, you allow yourself to move forward. Healing is the real victory. The enemy wants you to stay trapped in bitterness, to stay stuck in anger, to remain focused on the injustice rather than on the healing that is available to you. But you are not meant to live in a place of resentment. You are not meant to hold on to the pain forever. God wants to restore you so completely that you no longer feel the need to look back. When you focus on your healing instead of on their punishment, something powerful happens. You reclaim your peace. You take back control over your emotions. You shift your focus from what was done to you to what God is doing for you. And in that process, you discover that the best revenge is not watching them suffer. It is watching yourself grow, evolve, and become everything they never thought you could be. God will handle those who harmed you, but your job is to let go and trust the process. It is to step into the healing he has for you. It is to rise above the pain, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. God's justice is not about proving a point to them. It is about proving a point to you that no one has the power to take away what he has ordained for your life. That no betrayal, no deception, no mistreatment can override his divine plan. That what was meant to break you will only build you. That no matter how deep the wound, healing is always possible. So do not waste your energy waiting for them to fall. Instead, invest your energy into rising. Trust that God sees it all, that he knows what was done, and that he will make things right, not through destruction, but through restoration. Not through hatred, but through healing. And when you reach the place of true healing, you will understand that the greatest victory is not in their downfall, but in your ability to move forward, free, whole, and unshaken by what they did.